All right, welcome back to Blue City Reviews. Thanks once again for watching. I just finished a film called Nobody from the year 2021, directed by Ilya Naishuller, starring Bob Odenkirk, who most people would know as Saul from Breaking Bad, but he's been in the business for decades. He has a lot of great work out there. I know him also from an episode of The Office, actually, where he's doing a hilarious send up of Michael. So I didn't know much about this film going into it, other than that Bob Odenkirk was in it. It was an action movie, and my fiance wanted to see it. So we rented it, and it turned out to be a fairly entertaining John Wick clone. Another one of these John Wick clones that we seem to be getting more and more of, perhaps one a week, like Gunpowder Milkshake, which I just reviewed for the channel about a couple weeks ago. This is about as good as Gunpowder Milkshake, which I also enjoyed, but it owes a lot to John Wick. And the plot is so simple that to talk about it for more than a few minutes would definitely involve spoilers, but I'll give it a shot. Bob Odenkirk plays a likable family man who is repeating the same day endlessly until he dies, as so many of us are, right? Which is fine. He wakes up, he cooks breakfast, he takes out the trash, usually missing the garbage man by a couple minutes, or a couple seconds, rather. He goes to work, he punches in, does his job, eats lunch, clocks out, goes home, eats dinner, takes a shower, crawls reluctantly into bed next to his snoring wife, and eventually passes out only to wake up and do it all over again. And over and over and over. And the movie makes it repeatedly clear that he's getting bored with this. Now, in films like this, John Wick-esque films like this, obviously this guy's going to have a darker past. And he does, and he was an operative for a secretive government agency that involved conspiracies and murders and I'm not going to go into it in depth, but you can just imagine. So when a home invasion sort of rocks his everyday pattern, a couple people break into his house, threaten his family, his two children, and his beautiful wife, played by Connie Nielsen, he goes psycho, right? That is enough to sort of jar him out of his daily routine and get back into his old habits, which involve breaking bones and cracking skulls and just opening up a big old fat can of whoop ass on anybody he might find standoffish or reprehensible. And that's the movie. It's Bob Odenkirk as a family man who snaps, falls back into his own ways, and kicks ass for the remainder of the film. Now, there are some other strands that run in and out of the film involving like the Russian mafia, and he has a brother that he's talking to on the radio who may or may not turn up later in the film, right? Christopher Lloyd plays his father. Some really funny scenes there. There's some disdain between his wife and he and the children, and they got to pad the running time, but really you're in this movie to see Bob Odenkirk just kicking ass. And he does. And all that stuff is great. It really is. This is getting a big thumbs up from me. I will say that, you can only rip off John Wick for so long, and these things are going to run out of steam. And I don't know that I would want to see a Nobody franchise. Same way I'm not sure that I want to see a, Gunpowder Milkshake franchise. They're working on the sequel to that. I don't know. The thing with John Wick is that's Chad Stahelski. And Chad Stahelski, if you look up his filmography, his first listed gig was The Crow, which was arguably one of the hardest film sets to be on in the history of cinema. You could make that argument that, talk about a crash course in designing action sequences. And he ended up doubling for Brandon Lee after Brandon passed while a grief counselor was on the set. So you know, that was his crash course into the industry, and he's been designing fight scenes ever since, including The Matrix. It's the obvious pick from his resume, but he's done a ton of things. So, you know, John Wick is popular not only because of, you know, the enormous heart of Keanu Reeves, which we've all fallen in love with as a culture, and rightfully so, but also because of Chad Stahelski. You know, he is a genius. He knows what the hell he's doing with this type of film. So, you know, anything trying to reach for that is probably not going to reach the same heights. That said, I loved Nobody, same way I loved Gunpowder Milkshake, you know, and Atomic Blonde, and a lot of these other films. I love them. I'm just thinking, you know, this craze is going to run out of steam sooner or later, and I'm not so stoked about a Nobody Part 2. Unless it's something really wild and they take it in another direction, which they could. Who's to say, right? Involve Connie Nielsen a little bit more and delve a little bit more into his backstory, give Christopher Lloyd some more scenes. Who knows? But yeah, thumbs up on Nobody. It's simple, shallow, bloody entertainment. So there you go. Thanks once again for watching Blue City Reviews. Peace.